Welcome back to another episode of the Be Who You Came to Be podcast. I'm your host, Tara Renze. Excited about today's show. If you follow me on Instagram at Tara Renze, I made a post about confidence, criticism, and the cost of being who you came to be. It was the Sweeney scandal that sent me off on a tangent to post something that I don't normally post. It felt good. It actually felt really good. And I got to tell you, the post is getting a lot of traction. It's making me think that I need to be a little more bold and a little more confident myself in what I'm putting out there in posting my opinions and thoughts about what it means to be who we came to be, knowing that we're not always going to be for everyone, that not everyone's going to like us. And it's okay that not everyone's going to like us and that we get to be exactly who we came to be. So let's talk about the whole Sweeney scandal. Unless you've been living under a rock, which if you have, good for you, because you don't have to deal with all the bullshit of social media and media in general and all the stuff that's going on. But Sweeney, who is a model, a beautiful young lady, she's absolutely gorgeous. And she's an American Eagle model. She's been modeling their jeans. And she did this ad that was called Sweeney Has Great Genes. And she actually talks a little bit about genetics in it. And then they do the double entendre of, not just great genes, Genes, great genes, Jenes. And the internet lost their mind. Not the majority of the internet, but this small group of the internet who decided that Sweeney was basically, I hate to even spread the rumors. Just go read about all the horrible things they said. Basically from saying that she was, they were referencing Nazi Germany, white privilege. She's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl. You guys, she was born like that. That is literally how she was born. That is called genetics. It's science. So is she not supposed to be herself? And God forbid that a company like American Eagle wants to have Sweeney, who is a beautiful young model their genes, that makes them wrong or bad because she has blonde hair and blue eyes and she's a beautiful young girl. It is, how do we get to canceling women for being confident in their own skin, for being exactly who they came to be, for looking like they are, for wearing the hair color they were born with, to the color of eyes that they were born with, and to saying she shouldn't be that. And we certainly should not be celebrating that as a society because she's a blonde-haired, beautiful, blue-eyed girl, and then making it no longer about the double entendre funniness about Sweeney has great genes, but she also wears great jeans. I thought the ad was brilliant. I thought it was funny and it's engaging. And hey, you know what? There's this saying, no press is bad press. And I think that this is exactly it, because actually the American Eagle stocks are up. And a lot of people have come to their defense and saying like, hey, this is not okay to go after Sweeney and American Eagle because she is a white, blonde, blue-eyed girl. Like, you're still talking negatively about her skin color, her eye color, her hair color, and making her feel bad and she should be small and embarrassed by exactly the body that she was born into. How have we gotten to this point? And let's face it, like, this has been going on for women for a very long time. I did not grow up with the internet. I grew up with 17 magazine and Teen magazine and Marie Claire. And, looking through those magazines, and we've always celebrated beautiful women. And I'm so glad that we are celebrating all types of women. I think that we've come a very long way in celebrating different body types, different ethnicities, different hair colors, different eye colors, different ages, like different sizes, different everything. Big boobs, little boobs, big butts, little butts, tall, short, old, skinny, everything. It's all out there. And I think it's good because, as I'm a 48-year-old woman, and I've lived most of my life wondering if I'm enough, if I am fit enough, if I'm skinny enough, if my butt's too big, if it's too small, are my boobs too big? Are they too small? All the things that as women, we've constantly been up against. And I thought that we had taken enough strides as a country to say, hey, you know what? Women come in all shapes and sizes and we're going to celebrate that. But now suddenly we're not going to celebrate Sydney Sweeney because, she's blonde hair, blue eyed. And why would we ever celebrate that? I don't know. It's wild to me how we got to this place. But, I think that what hurts me the most about it is it's not even about Sydney Sweeney. It's about women in general and the fact that we, to this day in 2025, are still afraid to show up in our own skin as exactly who it is that we are and who we came to be. We were all born into very different bodies. We recently went to the Morgan Wallen Music Festival in Gulf Shores, and I'd never been to a beach music festival before. I had no idea what to expect. And I got to tell you, the celebration of bodies at this music festival was amazing. I mean, we saw so many butts, so many boobs, lots of tattoos, so many different body types. Like, it made me realize, like, we truly are so different and so beautiful and so unique. And why we would ever want to be more like something that we're not. And that's not about, staying healthy and regulating our weight and, exercising and trying to work on the best version of us. Like, we should always be doing that. I'm a firm believer in health and wellness. But trying to be something we're not, and then trying to make someone feel bad for exactly who they are and the body that they were born into and their eye color, it's just wild to me. And I got to tell you, I've felt like this. I feel this. I've done this since I was a teenage girl, and wondered if my body was okay. I've actually, if you know me, if you've ever seen me, I actually have big calves. This is funny to admit on the podcast. Really, and I got these from my father, from the Johnson side of the family. They had these big, strong, muscular calves. And I remember in like third grade or fourth grade or something, someone said to me, "You have calves that only a mother cow would love." And that was really freaking mean. But I remember it made me very self-conscious of my calves. And I've randomly had people come up to me in the grocery store, predominantly men, or they're like, "Are you a gymnast?" Because I've never seen calves like that on a woman. I'm like, geez Louise, like, I have very strong legs. I work out a lot. I love my legs. Now I love my calves, but there was a time in life where I constantly wanted to cover my body, to cover my legs, because I was so worried that someone was going to comment on my legs. And now I've decided that, like, I embrace that. I love my calves. If you have seen me on Instagram or on videos, you know that I have a mole on my face. And I've actually had people ask me before, like, "Why haven't you gotten that mole removed?" Like, first off, it's not a cancerous mole. I've had it looked at many times. But people love to weigh in on other people's appearances. And then what it does is it makes us feel we have no self-confidence. It makes us play small. We want to shrink. And I think this whole thing with the Sydney Sweeney, I actually love how many people have come to her defense and to American Eagle's defense of, like, hey, women come in all shapes and sizes, and we can celebrate beautiful women and beautiful models. Back to the 1990s. If you guys remember, Calvin Klein did that super controversial ad, which is so far from controversial now. And I love that they were like, the creators of CK1 of, like, hey, we could have a fragrance for men and women, and we can all look great in t-shirts and jeans, no matter who we are. Now, granted, this was the Kate Moss era, which was like super thin, super skinny. Like, we went through that. I pretty much lived through everything. Like, I've lived through, like, you should be super skinny. Like, you should be fit. Big butts are in. Like, I mean, and this is when you're like, okay, God gave me the body I'm in. This is my genetic makeup, so I'm going to make the most of it. But I actually did, I've always been hard on myself. I am not afraid to admit this. I've been hard on myself. I've come a really long way in my self-regard and self-love. And I think if you talk to any woman and she was being honest with you, she would tell you that she's always been hard on herself. She's always, viewed her flaws as flaws versus them as perfectly flawed. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And so when I got into my, like, mid 40s, there is this photographer in Kansas City, Indian Gems is the name of it. And they do this beautiful, like, super classy boudoir type photography. So I decided that I was going to go do my very own 1990s Calvin Klein type photo shoot to just try to celebrate, myself, not to try to actually celebrate myself. Now, these photos have not been published, they're like, showed them to my husband. I actually, though, today, in honor of celebrating exactly who we are and good genes and Calvin Klein, I posted some of these pictures just as this like call out of like, I'm tired of hiding as well. And I'm wearing Calvin Klein underwear and a tank top in them. They're not really that revealing. But I wanted to do this not for vanity, but for victory and for self-regard. And what's really interesting is I had those pictures taken several years ago and I'd never posted them. And I got to this point today where I was like, if I'm hiding and playing small, who else is hiding and playing small? And we're so fearful of putting our true selves out there in fear of what someone's going to say, their opinion. Like, it doesn't matter what you put out there. Someone's going to have an opinion. Someone's going to talk shit. Someone's going to be negative. Someone's going to say something not nice. So why not just be your whole self? Like, why half-ass who you are when you could whole-ass who you are, knowing that you're not going to be for everyone. I mean, for some people, you're going to be too much. For other people, you're not going to be enough. But you're going to find those people. You can find those raving fans who love you, who love you for exactly who you are. Hey, it's Tara here, and I am so excited to let you know that the second edition of my book, Be Who You Came to Be, is officially on pre-sale. I originally self-published the book, and now a publishing house has picked up the book, and I'm so excited and so honored that this book will be available in bookstores across the country. However, you don't have to wait till it gets into the bookstore to get your copy. You can go to my website and sign up for your very own pre-sale book, which includes new secrets, new emotional intelligence takeaways to help you step into your authenticity and be exactly who it is that you came to be. Look, you don't need a self-help book to help you fix what's broken. You're not broken. You just need to become more of who you already are. It's why I poured my heart into this book, and I am so excited that a copy is waiting for you. Head over to my website now and get your copy. And, I have learned this in life that no matter what you do, someone will not like it. And that's okay. That's like the beauty of like opinions and getting to find what we like and don't like. I mean, wouldn't it suck if you liked everything? Like if you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. If you liked everything, you'd have no style. If you, had no opinions, you'd have no values in life, because we all have different things that really matter to us. And generally they reflect our values and who we are and our likes and dislikes and our personalities and our quirks and our, authenticities and who we are and what we like. So I always go back to, if you've been listening to the podcast, you've heard the story that I got this, I put my book out. My book's being published by a publishing house now. So it's going to be in bookstores, where before it was on my website. And if you got the copy, I personally mailed it to you, or you got a paper print on demand copy through Amazon, which means you basically just got the manuscript. So it's being published now. I'm so excited that it'll be in bookstores. But when I even put it out just on, out there on my website and on print on demand Amazon, people leave reviews. People can leave reviews, which is a great thing. Like, we love reviews as a society. We're trying to figure out what we like and what we don't like. Is it worth the money? Like, am I going to relate to this? We love to read reviews. We love to write reviews. So I got a lot of good reviews. People being like, I love the book. Felt like you wrote this for me. And then I get this 1-star review from this person who said, this book was not for me. I immediately threw it in the Goodwill pile. Now I got to tell you, that burned, that hurt. I suddenly was like, oh shit, this woman clearly does not like my book. Enough that she went and left me a bad review. So this kept me up at night. I was upset about it because, look, I'm only human. And one of our human needs is acceptance. But we have to remember, we are not for everyone. And if you stand for, if you stand for nothing, or if you're for everything, then you stand for nothing. And if everyone loves you, then you're probably not really living exactly who you are and who you came to be, because you can be the best peach and the cutest peach and the juiciest peach, but someone's not going to like peaches. Okay. It's just part of life. And do you like everyone? No. Have you liked every book you've read? No. Not everyone's going to like it. So as serendipity would have it, I got a message on Instagram months later from some gal who had a picture of the book. She was holding it and she said, look what found me today. I've been losing my heart and I found your book. And I told her to believe in herself and to keep shining her light. And of course I had to say, like, well, where'd you find the book? She was like, I found it at Goodwill. I like to go there to find stuff that speaks to me. And this really spoke to me today. And then she had this like afterthought, a second message on Instagram that said, and I hope the location isn't disheartening. And I thought about that. I obviously giggled. It made my day. And it was my own realization that like, I'm not going to be for everyone. Not everyone's going to like me no matter what I do. And the book could be for someone and they think it was the best thing ever. And someone else could be like, hey, this wasn't for me. It's not personal. It's not even about me. It's about them. And that is okay. It's why we have different genres of music, different types of books, different artistic styles, different fashion that we wear. I mean, we all get to find that thing that works for us. And just because we're not for everyone doesn't mean that we're less. It doesn't mean that we're not okay. But certainly going after someone for the way they look, because that's how they were born, I'm sorry, friends, that's just wrong. That's just mean. No matter how you feel about someone, it should never be about their looks and the body that they were born into that God gave them. Like, we should never be judgmental and mean because of someone's eye color or hair color and, their beauty or their authenticity and how they look. So this is really where emotional intelligence comes in, and not just our own emotional intelligence and being able to navigate haters and people who are mean, but really the emotional intelligence of impulse control, self-regard, self-awareness, and what you're putting out into the world. I think so often we forget how powerful our words are, our opinions are. And it doesn't mean that you can't dislike things, but is it always necessary to, if you don't like something or someone or the way they look, to just insult them? It is not necessary. It serves no one. Like, you can use that as data for your own little mindset of like, ooh, here's what I like and what I don't like. But I think we have to be really mindful about how we're making other people feel, which really is about self-awareness, which is understanding how you're presenting and what you're putting out there into the world. But as far as being on the receiving end of all of this, you have to understand that, again, people are going to have opinions no matter what. No matter what. And again, you don't like everything and you don't like everyone. And we have to come to terms with the fact that we're not going to be for everyone. And that we have to learn that if someone throws criticism our way and they actually, let's say they publish it on the internet, that says a lot more about them and nothing about you. Like, if you're putting good into the world, if you are leading with love and you are being a kind, amazing person, then someone might not agree with you, and that's okay. That's okay. Now, this is not a permission slip to be an asshole online. This is not a permission slip to go put your opinions everywhere if they're mean. Like, that is not the goal of this episode, but it's really about being accepting of who you are and of other people. One of the things that I have found most about people who have truly embraced the be who you came to be mantra and lifestyle is that they have given themselves permission to be exactly who God intended them to be, to show up as their unapologetically authentic self, knowing that they are perfectly flawed and that they are not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. That they're going to shine their light and they're going to let that light attract the people who are meant to be in their lives. Now, what's really magical is when people are living by the be who you came to be mantra and doing just that, they create space for other people to do the same, even if it isn't in line with how they live their lives. Because we realize that being who we came to be means that we literally are all different. That I didn't come to be more like you. I didn't come to be more like Jane or Sue or, Karen or Nancy or Tia or Barb or Kelly or whoever you are. Like, I was not put on this earth to be more like you and to live my life more like yours. I was put on this earth to figure out exactly who I am, to find my raving fans, to find the people who love me for me, to give love back to those people, and then create space for them to do the exact same thing. And if you're truly being who you came to be, you don't feel the need. You don't even do it, you don't feel the need to, and you don't do it, you don't go and shame other people. You don't tear other people down. You're not being mean and saying awful things about people. And you're certainly not posting them on the internet and trying to cancel people for exactly who they are and exactly who they came to be. You know, being perfectly flawed means that understanding that we are all flawed. We are all human beings. Like, as humans, we are sinners. We are flawed people. And it doesn't mean that we're never going to make a mistake, but it's about understanding we make mistakes. We learn from them. We apologize when we need to apologize. We show up as a better person the next time. And we, again, are constantly trying to present as our best selves. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have a bad day and that you're not going to mess up in life, but you are going to learn from it. And I will share with you that this is, the Be Who You Came to Be message has been in my life since I became a mother. It was written to my newborn son in 2007 by my grandmother. Became a guiding light for how I wanted to raise my children, to raise them to be who they came to be, not who I wanted them to be, certainly not who their father wanted them to be or the world wanted them to be, but how do I get this child, this 1 week old baby that when I read this letter, Ben was 1 week old, how do I help him step into all his authenticities, into his flaws, his perfectly flawed body and life, and be exactly the human being that he came to be. It was going to be a lifetime of discovery, of self-regard, of growing interpersonally, growing professionally, growing as an individual, finding out what he did well, learning from his mistakes, all of those things. And then I started thinking about it in my life and in other people's lives. And it was this beautiful sentiment of self-acceptance and acceptance of other people for exactly who they are and who they came to be. So, being unapologetic does not mean being arrogant or loud. It doesn't mean about going around hurting people's feelings or being angry because that's just who you are. It is about being self-aware and understanding that how you show up ultimately does impact other people. And you are on this earth to be a good human being. And it doesn't mean that you have to shrink or edit yourself to be accepted. It does mean that you understand your audience, where you're at and who you're with, and that you have that self-awareness in knowing that you don't have to show up rambunctious or arrogant again. And assertive doesn't mean being a jerk. It means being intellectually able to express what's important to you while being empathetic enough to listen and understand other people. Being who we came to be is the highest form of emotional intelligence. But it really, when you know that you are being who you came to be, is when you are accepting other people for exactly who it is that they came to be. And that means their personality, their authenticities, their gifts, their talents, their flaws, certainly their appearance, their genetics that they were born with, that we love people regardless of what they look like, where they're from, how they act, what religion they are, their sexual preferences. I mean, we can go on the list of that we should not judge people based on their outward appearance, how they live their lives, but who they are in their heart of hearts. And that is really what being who we came to be is giving other people the ability to do the same. So, if you're canceling Sydney Sweeney because she's got great genes and she looks great in jeans, I ask you to take a really clear look in the mirror and find out what's hurting inside of you and how, if you could step into that person that you are, and if you could be exactly who it is that you came to be, would allow you to love unconditionally and be accepting of people for exactly who they are and who they came to be. I think I've said enough. I hope that you don't shrink. I hope that you don't play small. I hope that you don't water yourself down to make someone else feel comfortable. If you're leading with love and you put love first, I'm going to keep being who I came to be. I hope you keep shining your light and being who you came to be, because when we do that, we truly have love and acceptance, both for ourselves and for other people. Keep shining, keep shining, keep shining, keep shining. The world needs you to be exactly who you came to be. I'm your host, Tara Renze. If you like this episode, please share it, subscribe, hell, give it a review. Let us hear what you think. All right, we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.